Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Happy Father's Day to everyone. Just a couple quick announcements. Last Sunday, Reverend Jesse was invited by Central Alabama Pride to participate in their annual wedding blitz, and we were down there and got to marry a couple, which was fun. There was about 4 or 5 done that day. So anyhow, that was great to be a part of that. And from 2 to 4 today, we'll be performing ceremonies at Pride Fest. So June 21st, next Saturday, International Yoga Day. We're going to do a little thing here at 11 to 12:30, excuse me, and just do a little breath work, some meditation, just for an hour and a half. Art of Living is coming in. Some people from the clubhouse are coming over to do a meditation. So that should be fun. So join us for that on Saturday. And then 2 weeks from today, June 29th, we're doing a benefit concert with our Ukrainian friends. So please show up for that and tell your friends, because we'd love to have a full house for that and help them and support them. They've been great. And so that is about it for today. Thank you, Bruce. Good morning, everyone. As we begin today's affirmative prayer, I want to read today's daily word.
It is Father's love. And the quote is, I bless those special ones who have shown me Father's love, whether it is your biological father or just that paternal presence that's available just throughout your life. Sacred text says, though we have 10,000 instructors, we have not many fathers or spiritual parents. And so I like to, especially around holidays, encourage people that if you did not have a good parental upbringing, no matter your age, even if you are in your 80s, you can find that archetype out in the world through your friends. Like, let them speak to you, let them guide you, listen to their words. If you don't want unsolicited advice, don't ask questions. Just open your ears and listen. Because I found that when you ask questions, sometimes that fountain don't turn off. It just on and just keep going. So take it where you can. So with that said, I invite you into the experience of affirmative prayer on this morning. If you will, with me, take a deep breath and relax as we enter the silence. And in this sacred space, we give thanks that the presence of God is already here. We give thanks that we are here because we know where we are, God is, and all is well. We affirm that every area of our life is living up to that affirmation and becoming well. We acknowledge that we are all on our individual journey of wellness, and we give thanks that the race is already completed. We affirm in advance that this service is blessed and healed, and all of us have taken away that in which Spirit says unto us. We speak blessings on those that are tuning in online and those that are on the way here, and who we have to be Monday through Saturday before Sunday arrives. We affirm it all is in divine order, and so it is. Amen. Amen.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. Why do stars fall from the sky every time
Thank you, LaDonna and Rick. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And welcome to Unity of Birmingham. I'm Karima Folks, and I'm going to guide us in a meditation today, centered around the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 17. The one who is righteous will live in faith. The one who is righteous will live in faith. Centered around the book of Romans, chapter
Arrive in faith.
My faith in God sustains and uplifts me. So let us center ourselves. I'm going to read this passage. It is from the Daily Word, not today's Daily Word, but it's from a Daily Word. From time to time, the media covers disturbing local and global events. But my faith in God need not be shaken. I know God is there for me and for all members of the human race as a constant support and guide. Whatever the situation, God is directing us to our highest good. My faith does not depend on outward conditions. Rather, my faith is grounded in the perfection of God. With faith-filled focus, my courage and peace are unshakable, no matter the situation. God is present in everyone and everything. I trust that right outcomes are unfolding in divine order. My faith lifts my spirits, strengthens my resolve, and fills my heart with love and expectancy. The one who is righteous will live by faith. So let us center in that faith, our deep belief that God, our sustainer, is always there, regardless of what it looks like on the outside. We go deeper. So let us close our outer eyes. Pay attention to your breath as it enters your body and exits your body. Just relax in your breath. Knowing that with each inhalation, God is sustaining us. With each exhalation, lifting us to our highest good. So relax your outer body. Relax your shoulders. No heaviness. No heaviness. It's light. And the thoughts that are coming, just allow them to come and then let them go. And center in your faith. And your belief and your knowing that your next breath will be there to sustain you, as it always has. Faith in knowing that regardless of the circumstances or what it may look like, the universal power of God is at work in the world. So we focus on our faith as we breathe in and breathe out. is loved. Be assured that all is well for your life, that all is well for our families and our friends, that all is well for our neighbors, because our faith in God is unshakable. If there's any troubling thought within you, release it. Breathe it out. Let it go. Reaffirm your faith that God is our sustainer. So as we come back to the presence of this room, we give gratitude for each of you participating. We give thanks to the Almighty God, the living God, the omniscient, the omnipresent, the omnipotent, for being everywhere, all the time. And we acknowledge and affirm our ability to open ourselves at any time to receive the good that is God. And we give thanks for our faith. And we let it be. Amen.
Rest with me a few moments in that energy created by the wonderful prayer chaplain. Just take a few moments just to rest. Resting the mind, heart, physical body, the body of your affairs. Take a moment to put it all down. Join me in a sigh. Take a deep breath into the nose. Release the sound of resting. When you give your mind and body a chance to rest, you offer your nervous system something new, something different. Your nervous system, which adapts to your environment. For example, if you've encountered environments where you had to struggle, where you were exposed to conflict or danger or alarming circumstances, the adrenal glands pump adrenaline through your system and cortisol gets pumped through your system and your brain switches into fight or flight and your amygdala takes over, which is your primal instincts. Those basic practices that are already in us, the ability to sweat, which we see as a sign that we're hot, but it's actually your body trying to cool off. You taking a deep breath and just sends a signal to your nervous system to rest. Sacred text says, for the spirit moans and groans and makes sounds that sometimes aren't able to be interpreted. So those sighs are ways that your mind-body system is trying to rest. So just a few minutes longer, stay with me in this space. This is the space where the work is done, where you can rest and reset, where you become born again, born from above. Everything that you've been exposed to, you get a chance to rewrite, allow your brain to make new connections so that new thoughts, and not the repetitive, intrusive ones, can come in. New ideas about people, new ideas about the world, new ideas about potential, and your potential and the world's potential can sink in. And when you're ready, come back to the room and say with me, and so it is. If you will, rub your hands together. Let's send this energy to those that are watching online. Say this with me: divine love, in us, blesses and multiplies all that you are and all that you have. Know in this moment you are safe and loved, and so it is. Our ministry is supported by partners like you. Remember to log on to unitybham.org and click on giving. Moderators are always on standby both before and after the service, so wherever you see this message, either Facebook, YouTube, or our website, make sure you place your comment there in the comment box below, because we would love to dialogue with you. You're a vital part of our community, and we will pray for you and your family. For those that are in-house that are in need of prayer, we have our prayer chaplains scattered around the room. Put your hands together for all of our prayer chaplains. Yes, and so it is. Honoring our prayer chaplains isn't just a formality. In fact, I am, on a personal level, grateful for all of you, because it takes all of our efforts, whether it's a Sunday where you're just coming to chill and you're coming to receive. It takes all of us coming together as a community in order to make this work possible. And the prayer chaplains and all of the service-oriented individuals, they're a vital part of the ministry, because that spiritual essence is so important. Even if you don't seek out a prayer chaplain just for individual help, just partnering with them, what the old folks used to call touching and agreeing. It's like, you know what, can I just shake your hand for a moment? Give me some of that. Give me some of that energy. But that prayer consciousness is both healing and spiritual at the same time. It's therapeutic. Because when you wake up Monday morning, sometimes you don't know what the day is going to bring you. So the work that you do on the weekends, and it's not about being this perfect individual, because if you've heard me say time and time again, and you've heard the quote probably all your life, nobody's perfect, or nobody's perfect. So the important thing is to engage in practices like this, where you have a chance to give your nervous system something new, because that is the whole point of spiritual practice, to control the controllables, because there are things that are in this world that are sometimes, seems, beyond our control. So the spiritual solution is to be solution focused, because if you focus on the things that you can't control, you tighten your nervous system, and you feel it in your body. Your muscles get tightened. You have excess headaches, excess backaches, excess sinus infections, and it seems like physical stuff comes out of the blue. Why did I wake up this morning and my bones are aching? That constant restriction as a response to the stimuli in our environment, sometimes in your physical environment and sometimes in your mental environment. But when you engage in practices like coming to church, yes, I'm a minister, so I'm going to talk about coming to church. Coming to church, engaging in sacred community, however you do it, partnering with the prayer chaplains, or trying out a new spiritual practice. All of those things, they help to rewire you so that you can live into this new person you're about to become. Which is why this month's theme is imagination. Say this with me, imagination. Because the people that we are becoming, if there are no physical models of them in our immediate environment. As a 38-year-old man, I can say this, growing up, that I was raised in a matriarchal environment. And so there were very few paternal individuals that provided models for manhood. So most of us growing up in my environment, we had to imagine it. We took our models from what we could see. To ground it in spiritual practice, the prophet Elijah looked at Elisha, and Elisha said, "Teacher, how can I do what you do?" He said, "Thank you for asking. If you see me when I go up, you can have a double portion of what I have." And so the ability to see, especially if you're a visual person, because there are multiple forms of intelligence. Some of us are tactile. Some of us have to feel things. Some of us are, we have to hear it. And we're listening, not because we're looking at you, but we turn our eyes away and turn our ear towards you. Who's a listener like that? It's like, pay attention, give me your eyes. For me, you don't want my eyes, you want my ear. Because if you got my eyes, I'm wonder what I'm having for dinner tonight. But if you got my ear, friends, comrades, lend me your ears, then you know I'm paying attention. Or if I'm doodling. But being able to see it was important growing up, just for me on a personal level. I can make a confession. And I'm still that way today. I have to see it. I have to physically see it. And I believe a lot of us sitting in the room are a lot like that. And if you cannot see it, my main point, if it's not in your actual environment, then your goal is to imagine it. That's the goal you should adopt. That's my first invitation. Imagine what is possible for you and your family. And if what you are imagining, you can mentally conceive of the possibility, then imagine the impossible. Stretch yourself. Because to the degree that you place yourself in proximity to the things you are imagining, I promise you, your mind and your body and your nervous system will do everything it can to help you to live up to that expected reality. And all that gobbledygook means that if you can see it and you are around it long enough, you will become it. It's just like children that are not yours. If you feed them long enough, they start looking like you. Your mental conceptions are a lot like that. Our behavior is a direct result of not just what we physically experience, but it's what we see up here, what Charles Fillmore called in headquarters. So it's a question to us as adults, especially adults in this room. What's going on in your mind? What are you holding, as the old Unity folks are saying? What are you holding? I'm holding about $2 right now. What are you holding in consciousness? What's in your spirit? What's in your heart? Well, I'm holding on to the pain, the unfortunate stuff, the misery that's going on in the world. Yes, we know that to be true. But what else are you holding? What are the possibilities that you're holding on to? In your entire life experience, especially when you are an individual of a certain age, you recognize that the world evolves. I think I feel my help now. Yeah. The world evolves and moves in cycles. So you can see patterns. The prophetic within you kicks in, and you can make predictions about what's going to happen. As the old folks used to say, call a thing a thing. There are two types of spiritual leaders in the biblical text. There are priests, according to Rabbi David Sachs, and then there are prophets. Priests typically gain their position through going through training and going through the academy and going through some form of catechism. You can earn it. There's a bureaucratic level to becoming a priest. But prophets are called by God. So you don't need to have a degree in this in order to buy into this, is what I'm saying. Because although you may not be clergy, you are a prophet of God. You are called by God to do this thing that I'm talking about. What is this thing you're talking about, preacher? I'm glad you asked. This thing that I'm talking about is how to effectively live your life and be solution focused. So you can peer into the eyes of darkness and you can say, hello, darkness, my old friend. But then you're not moved by it because you understand that darkness always comes before the dawn, and darkness is simply the absence of light. And if you want to get rid of the darkness, don't add more darkness to it. You simply turn the lights on. For many of us, the lights aren't necessarily in our physical environment. They may not be down your block. They may not be down your street. But the lights can stay on in your imagination. And if you learn to live your life not from the outside in, but from the inside out, You become an agent for change, what spiritual traditions call a force for good. And it doesn't take a lot of people to become forces for good. What it takes is willing people. Because sometimes when you're in rooms with a lot of people, a lot of things are said. And to reiterate President Barack Obama, a lot of times when you sit at those tables, you find out that those people ain't all that. And this is not to knock all the rooms that we sit in. Thank God for the ability to walk into spaces and sit at a table where decisions are made. But sometimes the power, the most powerful things that are done in a community, in a city, in a society, isn't decided in those rooms. It's talked about in those rooms, but power is ultimately and always in the hands of who?
People.
The people. If my people, sacred text, my people who were called by my name would humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from some of their ways, a little bit of their ways, their wicked ways, I'll heal their land. Our wickedness, we're not talking about right or wrong, we're talking about our self-centeredness. Now again, it's good to be conscious of self. There's nothing wrong with that. This message is not about beating us up. But this message is a call to service, that there are times, especially in times like these, where you'll hear it in the activist voice, where we have to make a step outside of our affluence, where we have to do the thing that we aren't willing to do, where we have to sometimes give up our Saturdays and then go serve. So my invitation is, in this message, as you are hearing it, don't let it convict you to beat you up. But search within your time and your schedule to see if there are opportunities where you can be of greater service. Within whatever it is your capacity to do. Because, in the words of Siddhartha the Buddha, the world is on fire. And I need to do something about it. For many of us, the way to do something about it is to start a mentoring group because we have the capacity to do so. For some of us, it's the ability to pick up the phone and create space for others to talk and vent, just to be there for somebody. For others, it's to partner with whatever social activist thing that's going on in your neighborhood. Or if that might be a bit too risky, it's to find whatever social activity is going on in your neighborhood and go be there. Go participate with Grace Klein. Go find out what St. Vincent de Paul is up to and see what you can do to help out. Because when you turn your attention to the least of these, you are turning your attention to me. And I find myself too, even in this message, in all of the messages, but especially this one, because when you look out sometimes at the world and you see what's going on in Israel, strikes against Iran, when you look out in the world and you see assassination attempts of political leaders, when you look out at the world and see the violence in certain neighborhoods, thank God in our city they're putting together programs to reduce the violence in our neighborhoods. But when you look out in the world, sometimes there is a sense of learned helplessness that comes back up to the surface. So we turn to our spiritual practices and we're reminded to tune into the sound of the genuine within us, to tune into the imaginative faculty and lay a hold of an idea in consciousness that is more powerful and more potent than the realities that we are seeing in the news and on television. In other words, sometimes you got to go within church before you go without. Because going within gives you the power. The spark of divinity lives in you. And it may not show up in you, with you, as you, by holding a mic, standing in front of a bunch of people. Not everybody is called to that. But there is something that you can do based on your skill set and your training and your life experience right where you are. So I guess my second invitation is every day when you wake up and you think about me and mine, think about the neighbor. Because when you take a look at spiritual practice, especially spiritual texts, the Old Testament says that the presence of God would come down in the form of the Shekinah. Everybody say Shekinah. Shekinah. Or Shekinah, depending on where you're from. The root word, well, the word Shekinah simply means the presence of God. It's the feminine presence of God, right? The root word of Shekinah, according to Rabbi David Sachs, is actually the same root word found in the word neighbor. So the word for God in the Old Testament, Shekinah, actually means neighbor. So serving God means also to serve one another. So when I turn to my own needs and turn to my family, the real question is, who else can I turn to? And not that old song, who can I run to share this empty space? R&B heads. But who can I turn to help? You know, who needs my help? You don't have to give up all of your time, but some of your time. What can I do? Is there a niece or nephew I haven't heard from in a while? Let me call them. Is there a cousin who I haven't talked to? I think I hit home with that one. Is there a cousin that I haven't talked to in a while? You know what? I don't want to call them. Let me call their brother, because if I call them, I'll be on the phone all day. Right? But how can I help? How can I serve? And believe it or not, all it takes is that one act of service. That's what all of the spiritual practice is about. That's what all of the preparation is about. How can I help? If you're an employer or a manager, when you're staring down at your HR paperwork and there are scripted questions that you have to ask, when you look across that table, remember what it was like to sit on the other side of that table and be gaslighted and be told every single reason as to why you're not qualified for this position legally, because they don't want to tell you the truth. They just don't want you there. But they have to say these things legally so they won't get sued, so they gaslight you. Don't do that. Take God with you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, throughout the rest of your week. Use your position and your power to help. And you never know who you might inspire. Just to borrow one of the stories that I received in Birmingham, you never know that nice little kid that's bagging your groceries might grow up to become your mayor one day. Put your hands together for that. Because it's a true story about the turning. The turning. It's why Siddhartha got up from the Bodhi tree and began to teach, starting to turn the wheel of the Dharma. It's why one of the greatest spiritual teachers in the rabbinic tradition in the Old Testament was a guy by the name of, I'm going to mispronounce his name, please forgive me, Maimonides, excuse me, who was a doctor and a physician. Wonderful story. Grew up in 12th century Spain under persecution. He and his family traveled to Israel, couldn't find any peace there because the Crusades decimated Israel. So he ended up in Cairo. And in addition to gaining spiritual knowledge, this individual also became a doctor and eventually physician to the king during that time, the imam. And so this individual also, not only did he study spiritual principles, but he wrote in one of the greatest pieces of literature that he wrote about, the Guide to the Perplexed. He talked about the great turning, what's called in Hebrew teshuvah or shuva. And we look at it in spiritual traditions as the turning back to God. But again, if Shekinah, the word for God, the root for that is also the same word as neighbor, I can't turn to God and also turn away from my neighbor. You're not being asked in this message to give all that you got. You're being asked to set a little bit aside for someone else. You may not be able to do it on Monday. Try it on Tuesday. You may not be able to do it on Tuesday. Try it on Wednesday. You may not be able to do it on Wednesday. Try it on Thursday. You can't do it on Thursday. Try it on Friday. But start somewhere. How can I help someone else get to where I am? This call and this message is a wake up for all of us to not kick the ladder out once we have climbed it. And that ladder doesn't have to be the ladder of success. It can be the ladder of information. Don't make people work so hard to get the information that they need to know to go on down the road. Give them what they want and let them go on about their business. Right? And it's not just for us, but it's for those out here virtually as well. It's a call for us as spiritual people to move deeper beyond our prayer and not just see prayer as an opportunity where we get on our knees, but prayer is a conversation that we have. Prayer is an event that we go to where we are invited to stand up for people who have been marginalized and discriminated against, and we honor the fact that love is love. Prayer is an opportunity for you to be there for someone not necessarily giving them words of advice, but just your physical presence of being there. That's how we reimagine a brand new world. And that's how we do this thing that I am guiding us into today, which is to utilize our imagination to imagine a brand new world and then to live that thing out. To ground this message in a spiritual story, I want to point your attention to one particular powerful text. It's found in the book of Isaiah. It's the 58th chapter. And in this text, Isaiah, who is trying to wake up the people in his community, in the 58th chapter, he says, and he questions the nature of their practices, particularly fasting. And he says, is this the fast that I have called? And if you're an individual that doesn't fast, as you can see, I'm working on mine, you can substitute the word fasting for your favorite spiritual practice. And you have to ask yourself, was I made for this practice, or was this practice made for me? Or to reiterate the words of Jesus, was the Sabbath made for man, or man made for the Sabbath? What is the whole point of spiritual practice? What's the whole point of deep study? What's the whole point of Bible study and yoga and meditation and prayer and all of these other things that we engage in? The whole point of them is to wake us up. To reiterate some of the themes from chapter 58, the prophet Isaiah goes on to say that the true fast is to liberate those that are in bondage, to free those that are in slavery, to provide food and clothing, some of the basic building blocks that we need as individuals for those that don't have. That is the true fast. And when you participate in those things, there's a light that kicks in from within you. That altruism is actually the missing ingredient for the answer to your prayer, believe it or not. By being just a little bit more altruistic. If that is your motivator and your only motivator, that works for me. But just a little bit more altruistic and stepping outside of yourself, you'd be surprised as to how your world changed. That joy, that dopamine boost you were looking for, a lot of times it comes when you do something for someone else, because it is better a lot of times to give than just to receive, especially if you are an individual who's constantly at the receiving end of applause and receiving end of good job, or if you're constantly at the receiving end of, man, you're beautiful, man, you're beautiful, man, you're beautiful. You know, when you hear that a lot, eventually it stops having the same level of meaning. Any pretty people in the house? Give me 2 snaps if you're beautiful. If you hear it a lot, it doesn't have the same level of meaning, but imagine someone who has never heard that before. What it could do to them, do for them. That is the true fast. That is the true prayer. That's the purpose of yoga or union. That's the purpose of meditation. To activate your divine potential so you can see the world better than what it is and then help someone else adopt that same vision. If we're going to radicalize anyone, that is how you radicalize individuals, and that is how you change the world. So to conclude this message today, I point your attention to the 60th chapter of Isaiah, where he says, now the light has dawned. Arise, because the glory of the Lord is all over you. You know why the glory of the Lord is all over you? It's over you because you decided to step outside of yourself and take 2 minutes to be concerned about someone else. Loving your neighbor, taking care of your community, taking care of the people that are around you and assigned to you, taking care of the people in your house. And not being so quick to get on up out of there. These folks get on my nerves. I gotta find something to do, somewhere to go, grab my keys and my coat. I'm out. Take 2 minutes and go check on them. I know it's hard. I know they get on your nerves. I know they're ready for you to go just as much as you're ready to go. Take 2 minutes and say, hey, you need anything? Even if you don't mean to try. You can always say, I forgot to bring it back. But take 2 minutes to try, and I promise you, doing that will expand your worldview, and it will allow you to lay hold in consciousness some of these things we're talking about and see them manifest in your reality. Thank you for listening. Our offering. For those of you that tune in online, remember to log on to unitybham.org and click on giving. Those that are in-house, the ushers are making their way forward to collect the offering while Donna gives us a selection. Take it away. congratulations. I want to say this on camera to LaDonna, whose work was featured on Birmingham Library's page. Put your hands together for that. What's the name of the event? The
Bards and Brews.
Bards and Brews, yes. So check out Birmingham Library Facebook page, and you will see more about the event. So I wanted to share that with you all. All right, let's bless this offering and get on up out of here, if you will. Put your hands in the direction of the individual carrying the basket. Say this with me. We bless this offering, affirming it will be used for the building of this ministry. We bless the givers. We declare their gifts will return back to them with good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Put your hands together one more time.
We could all stand for "Let There Be Peace on Earth." Prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is.
Wherever I am, God is, and all
All is well.
well.
Thank you much.